You just did something amazing. You hit play on Tech Vibe Pittsburgh to get your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, where I've been telling stories across Pittsburgh's tech industry for nearly 30 years now. So what happens when a whiskey-making entrepreneur takes the reins of one of the world's top university startup programs? If you're curious about how Pittsburgh is transforming into one of the best places in the world to launch a tech company, this episode delivers a first-hand look at the bold leadership and innovative programming driving that growth at Carnegie Mellon University. I'm super excited to welcome Meredith Grelli. Meredith was the founder of Wigle Whiskey and Threadbare Cider. For her second act, she joined Carnegie Mellon to teach entrepreneurship. Meredith is now the director of Project Olympus, a startup incubator at CMU focused specifically on tech startups. And if that's not enough, she was also just named the interim director of CMU's Swartz Center for Entrepreneurship. Whether you're a founder, investor, or ecosystem builder, you'll hear how cutting-edge ideas are turning into real-world startups right here in our backyard. So keep on listening to learn how Project Olympus and the Swartz Center are wrapping CMU founders in targeted support, talent, and capital. Discover how CMU's deep tech commercialization success is setting national benchmarks, and hear why Pittsburgh's future as a startup hub may depend on embracing unorthodox leadership and bold regional collaboration. So keep on listening to hear how Meredith Grelli is shaking up the startup scene at CMU and why that's great news for Pittsburgh's innovation economy. Meredith, thank you for hanging out with me here at the Huntington Bank Studios, where I get to have the best conversations with people that are just shaking it up here in Pittsburgh. And for me, just giving everyone this front row seat to what's going on here in our ecosystem is just so much fun. And your story is freaking amazing. And I cannot wait to jump into it today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so thrilled to spend time with you, Jonathan.
Well, thank you. I tell you what, so when I saw the news release a while back saying that, Meredith is going over to CMU and Project Olympus, I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a cool twist of I don't want to call it strange bedfellows, but the idea of someone who has this amazing background around retail and food and beverage going into one of the world's top technology universities. It's what's that happening? It's because she knows how to shake stuff up, and the basics of getting stuff into the marketplace don't change, whether it's really great whiskey or whether it's really great technology, right? And I think maybe the whiskey ages better than the technology because the technology ages so much.
Well, I think that, there's the entrepreneurship research, the literature actually tells us about the skill of associative thinking. That's one of the indicators of really powerful entrepreneurs, being able to link seemingly unconnected industries, thoughts, initiatives. So I think the founders at Carnegie Mellon are really good at this too. They're super interdisciplinary. And CMU, of course, is famous for connecting unlikely strengths, right, between our incredible schools of drama and computer science and engineering and business. So it's very CMU in a way.
You're right. That is absolutely. I think about I forgot the drama kids had computer science kids. Duh.
And there's something really magic. I mean, one of the goals at Carnegie Mellon is to bring all these seemingly disparate populations together to create incredible founding teams, because you can't build a company with just technologists, no matter how brilliant the technologists are. And for the kind of roles that I am situated in now, what we're building, we're not building technology at Project Olympus or the Swartz Center. We're building organizations that help connect founders to resources, help educate founders. So we're building culture, communities, networks that, address our founders' biggest needs, which are generally funding and talent. And so we need to get the right people on the bus, and identifying all those folks is really, really my primary role here.
It sounds so exciting. You got to be really stoked. I'm curious, before we jump into a little bit about your background, I just got to know, like, what made this so interesting for you to do? And I know that there's lots of opportunities that you could keep evolving your career, your aspirations and stuff. So something about this really obviously tugged at your heartstrings. What was it that got you excited about this?
Well, I first came back to Carnegie Mellon because I love Carnegie Mellon and I love Pittsburgh. I'm, fourth generation Pittsburgher. I'm an alum of Carnegie Mellon's MBA program at the Tepper School. I have just a completely irrational loyalty to both places. And my whole career has been really dedicated in some ways to trying to do what I can to make this region even more interesting and better and that build a stronger economy here. That's been part and parcel to really what drives me. I think, though, what keeps me so excited every day, I mean, I was here in the office at 6 a.m. today, and I will be here until I just don't even work because we are building our future world here. There are very few places better in the world right now to build a company. We have, and now I'm just going to boast, Jonathan.
Please boast. I want you to keep boasting. Boasting's a good thing here. We don't do enough of that in Pittsburgh.
That's right. That's right. We have, as you know, the top AI program in the world.
I've heard about that. Yes.
Yes. World-leading robotics programs. We really are becoming the epicenter of embodied AI as a result. We have the business school that's been ranked this past year as number 4 in entrepreneurship.
Slacking there. I'm sorry.
We have a similar ranking. We're one of the top universities in the world in terms of commercializing our research when it's, you look at it per $10 million of research dollars, we're in the top 3. So we have just this extraordinary pool of talent to create the future with. And it's so exciting to be able to tell students, faculty, alums that there are very few places better in the world to build a company right now than at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh.
I love the way you're thinking. At the Tech Council, we want as many Carnegie Mellon folks to stay in Pittsburgh and build something or be part of something that's being built. And it's always that struggle. But I mean, yeah, it happens one person, one company at a time. But it's something that I've loved the fact that you are passionate about that and very focused in that CMU has your good powers aligned with them in order to help make that happen. I think that's just fantastic. Like I said, the Tech Council, we were tickled to note that this position was now under your helm. And we feel like there's so many good things that can come from this. So I just jump in a little bit about your past in case our listeners don't know. I mean, you've got this really cool past with Wigle whiskey and so forth. Just tell us a little bit about what got you into being like an entrepreneur and especially into the whole thing with the spirits industry and things like that. I mean, it's such a cool story.
I think entrepreneurship is oftentimes a completely irrational act, but for me, it was something that I just couldn't shake the notion that I was truly intended to build something, that having a job wasn't really, it felt like I was living someone else's life and I had this idea that I wanted to pursue. And so I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to really try that out. And so for me, we started a whiskey company called Wigle Whiskey and started that when I was pretty young. And so at the time, it was such an exciting industry to me for a number of reasons. It combined a lot of things that I was super interested in at the time, which included manufacturing, a lot of learning. Like you said, I'm not a technologist, but I work in I have an appointment in School of Computer Science. I also am not a chemical engineer, and yet ended up distilling whiskey for a decade.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
But the manufacturing side of it, as well as the regional story, we have this incredible history in whiskey in Western Pennsylvania, birthplace of American whiskey, produced the country's whiskey for most of our country's history, and really felt like it was a story worth telling and building a brand around and a company around. And
you didn't just build a brand. I mean, you really built like a regional institution. I mean, that's something that, no, absolutely. It was something where everyone knew the product and the way it was marketed. And like I said, there was a story behind it. There was substance, and you combine that with events and other product marketing, and it became this thing. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
no easy task this day and age. There's a lot of chatter out there, and you guys were really able to differentiate yourselves in the marketplace, which is why I feel like, man, like if there's someone that knows what they're doing when it comes to this, it's Meredith, right? And so that's why I'm like, my goodness, your skill set with that, it applies towards everything and anything when it comes to product, market, whatever that is. So
Well, anyone that's had the good fortune of experiencing some success also knows how very important luck is and
there's always a stroke of luck.
all of that.
Absolutely.
Huge component. We definitely had a lot of great fortune and luck and found great ultimate partners who are carrying forth with the company and are so grateful to them and that we had such a successful transition and exit ourselves.
Absolutely. And what I think is so fantastic is the amount of knowledge that you acquire during that. It's something that is you. And you being at Carnegie Mellon now, this is something where it's like as you're interacting with students and other faculty, that becomes contagious. And
Oh, yeah.
it's something, it's real life. It's like one of our board members, Courtney Williamson from a company of
Oh,
Bill.
yeah. Love
Like
Courtney. And she's a faculty member here.
she's a faculty member, and she's one of my favorite people in the world because and then when she told me she was teaching at CMU, I'm like, "Oh, Courtney's holding class."
Yeah.
Which is like so cool because I'm like, my goodness, like if you're going to be able to really show students what it means to to actually build a product, not just have it in the lab, but take it and put it in the wild where physics really starts weighing down on you. And you got that same thing going on. And I think that just creates such an advantage to just building that a real entrepreneurial spirit. It's easy to teach it in a book and say, yeah, this is what you do. But to say, here's how I've lived it, and then take your passion for it and ignite that fire into people, I think you're going to kick a lot of people over the edge. And they better stay here in Pittsburgh and make these companies. No pressure, Meredith. No pressure.
I do think, well, so first of all, Courtney's an amazing educator. I've had the chance to watch her teach a couple times,
Okay.
and she holds those students to account.
She does.
Awesome. And they respond really well to that. I'm more Montessori style,
There. Come on.
but all of our entrepreneurship classes are very roll up your sleeves, get on your boots, get out the door, project based. It's so for, the goal is to build companies. If you are in the entrepreneurship like track at
Yes.
Carnegie Mellon, whether you're an undergrad or a graduate student, or if you're a PhD committed to commercializing research, we are here to build companies while you're here. So the classes are probably not like, most typical curriculum that people remember from their days in college or grad school, which is really fun for me.
So let's talk about what's going on with Project Olympus, because that's been a very important thing in Pittsburgh's tech ecosystem. I know in the nearly 3 decades that I've been hanging out in Pittsburgh's tech industry, that's something that always sticks with me is this important resource that's out there. And with you at the helm of this thing now, give our listeners a little overview of kind of how this thing works and really like what you're bringing to this, which I think is really important.
Yeah, sure. Project Olympus has, just like you said, an incredible history. It was the vision of Lenore Bloom, who is a faculty member in the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon, and she had this idea. She never founded a company. She's just has the most entrepreneurial spirit. She had this idea that the university deserved to have a center that really supported faculty members who wanted to commercialize their research. And of course,
Yes.
we have incredible examples of that, including, Luis von Ahn from Duolingo, who was hanging around the joint about the time that Lenore came up with this notion, right?
Exactly. Right.
So she really planted a flag for entrepreneurship at Carnegie Mellon. And, some of the programs that she envisioned then are programs that top universities now come to us and say, we're trying to build this. And she had this incredible foresight. For instance, we have a program called Innovation Commercialization Fellows, where we give a stipend to PhD students who are willing to say, academia is not the path for me. I want to take this amazing research that I've been doing for 5 years, and I'm going to turn it into a company. And we support them through a year-long cohort program. We give them money to fund them for that year. And that program, so many universities are so jealous of us for this program. And, I will tell you, Jonathan, we just finished an inventory of our most successful CMU affiliated startups, both
Yeah.
from exits perspective and a
Okay.
fund perspective.
Very cool. I would love to see that list one of these days. That would be awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We have so much to talk about. We're just scratching the
I
surface.
know.
I mean, about almost 40% of those companies are coming out of labs here.
Mm.
So this is a really significant part of our pipeline. And this is a program, again, that was envisioned far before other peer programs like it were developed. So this is one of the programs at Project Olympus that we've really focused on continuing to invest in and evolve. So this coming year, the program will have all sorts of new bells and whistles
Okay.
to it.
Excellent.
So I think one of those I think you know about is we've added a class with that'll be co-teaching with Mar Hershenson, who's the founding partner of Pear Venture Capital in Menlo Park in San Francisco. And they are a seed stage significant firm that really focuses on or has a broad interest in deep tech and especially university related
Ah,
apps. And they've been good partners to the university and to founders here. One of their investments actually just had a successful exit, Pearl Street, which is faculty member Larry Pledge. So we're deepening our relationship with Pear is one example, but with a number of really with venture firms that really map nicely onto the kind of work we do here and really know what it is to invest in university deep tech. So that program, so for instance, fellows in that program will have the opportunity to take this class and we'll build teams around them, teams of support around these deep technical founders.
okay.
So they'll get teams of MBAs and other graduate students. They will get a dedicated EIR who has deep technical expertise and commercialization expertise in their particular vertical that they're working in, as well as dedicated mentors that they're putting the wish list together now for this year's
Very
cook.
cool. Oh my goodness. This is exciting.
Mentors are
Cool.
we just wrap them in all of this support over the course of the year. They'll also participate in our NSF I-Corps program. So for the first time this past year, in many, many years, Carnegie Mellon, we're hosting our own I-Corps programs. And when we look, again, when we did this inventory of our most successful startups, we also looked at what programs across our Carnegie Mellon and our Pittsburgh ecosystem they participated in.
Okay.
And the highest overlaps that we found were in our EIR programs and the National Science Foundation I-Corps programs and in a number of others, but we're really investing heavily in those programs that we've seen success from.
Makes total sense. I love the fact that you're looking at the companies and looking at what did they participate in that may have helped generate that success and say, how do we amplify that stuff and bring it to the next wave that are coming out there? That is very cool.
That is something that we're bringing to, I'm director of Project Olympus, but I also am managing director and then interim executive director at the Swartz Center, and building out this data infrastructure across our CMU ecosystem is one of my main priorities right now. So we're doing that from not only a startup success perspective, but also our investable startups. So we will soon have a public Airtable of CMU affiliated investable startups for the first time in our history. We are looking at anyone who has ever invested in a CMU company, as well as building out a very broad shared list of investors. So we're really building this entire infrastructure system that will help us level up our program. We're building out incredible programs and an incredible sort of vertebrae of support for founders. But now the next step that we're really looking to do is really continue to power up. So level up the programs, focus on
Exciting. I mean,
marketing, storytelling, all of that.
it's amazing as you go through this. It's blowing my mind a lot because I'm really knowing that like how much seniority does around this. It has, historically because of like what you guys do. But now this is I feel like you're just putting this thing into like some sort of double overdrive of some kind and really just beefing it up. And you get to really lead the effort on this. So you gotta be like coming to work, like you said, at 6 a.m., feeling pretty stoked despite the long, crazy hours. But you know what you're doing is gonna have, it has a potential impact on so many people's lives, the region here, the university. It's just this whole like our ecosystem, really, I guess, for lack of a better term. That's got to be. I'd be pretty fired up if I were you.
I am very fired up. We have
Get tired too. I'd be exhausted.
I'm very fired up. We have the most incredible team. We have the most incredible team who is all of our team members are also irrationally, absurdly committed to building companies, to helping our founders build their companies and show up every day with this mission.
Mhm.
And so, we have an extraordinary team of people for whom this is what they eat, breathe, and sleep every day. And that's why it works. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. And you mentioned obviously how you're the interim director at the Swartz Center. And I'm like, my goodness, like taking that on, like you just took on this new role. But I feel like they actually kind of plug together very nicely in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they do kind of go together. And I'm just saying, my God, I hope you have a couple of assistants there. At least bring you coffee or something like that because
No, we don't do I feel like founders, I don't know. No EAs for
I totally
they're real. Yeah, no, it does work beautifully together. We're actually what we're working on right now is integrating, taking stock of all of our programs and working through integrations across the whole ecosystem. So it's really exciting. It's an opportunity to think about the next 10 years. I mean, we have
yeah.
the Sports Center has become such an epicenter of entrepreneurial energy for the region, I think. And thanks to the incredible work of Dave Mawhinney and the team here, they've really put Pittsburgh on the map and put Carnegie Mellon on the map for entrepreneurship. And now we get to build what the next decade looks
Exactly
like.
right. Yeah, it's the next iteration now as
Yeah.
the region continues to grow and as our ecosystem continues to grow, like, and you guys are going right along with it to make it go faster. And it's just to me, it's just an amazing story. And it's just been so much fun being able to talk to you about like this is what's going on, and there's gonna be so much more to report. We need to have like a couple report backs as to the progress of this.
Yeah.
This is like I said, it's so vital to our tech industry here in Pittsburgh. I have this coarse saying, but it's true, but it's maybe not the most tactful thing to say, but well, actually, like, oh, that Kirsten, he's so crude, but I kind of agree with him. But I've said this forever, and I got in a little trouble one time for saying it. I always say, if it wasn't for Carnegie Mellon University, I mean, Pittsburgh would be in the place that Detroit's in, where they're still scratching their way out. And that's no rip on Detroit. It's just that, like, I just feel like CMU has been our secret sauce in so many ways.
Absolutely.
For our tech industry to be where it is and how it is, and the talent that comes here because of the school, the investment that comes in. Before we started this interview, I was talking to Aaron saying how at the Tech Council, we've done a lot of taking our entrepreneurial companies out to Silicon Valley, and we talked to the investors out there and they're like, they don't know Pittsburgh, but they know CMU. And it's like, oh, CMU's in Pittsburgh. Right. And so that's where I always say to myself, CMU's been a linchpin for our success, along with many other institutions, of course, but I think CMU's been this big anchor. My conversation with you, I'm like, wow, you guys are just taking this to new levels now. And so I think, there's a lot for us to be expecting here, and we're very excited.
Well, if I can add one more thing,
For
because
sure.
you talking about CMU, Carnegie Mellon was this sort of like posthumous partnership between one of our nation's greatest entrepreneurs and Andrew Carnegie and one of our first and greatest venture capitalists, Mellon.
Mellon, exactly. Yeah.
And so I think this up by your bootstraps entrepreneurial culture is truly, we're just sort of dripping in it and have been through our relatively young history as a university.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that we should lead in entrepreneurship. And I think we as a university are taking that very, very seriously. And you will see relatively soon
Okay.
additional announcements and commitments to demonstrate that. So I think it's a really exciting time to be a founder at Carnegie Mellon.
It's got to be. Absolutely, Meredith. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know you're super busy, but I could keep talking to you forever. But I think you've given us some great stuff.
I hope I gave you enough, Jonathan.
Plenty. This has been so much
Okay.
fun. I'm just very excited for the future of Pittsburgh, just knowing that this is what's happening here at our Carnegie Mellon University to get more startups going, to take this great research and get it out there. I have firsthand seen how people have taken something from an idea and have made millions of dollars, not just for themselves, but for their entire staff as well, too, who have gone on to found other companies. It's been so much fun. And that's what this journey is all about. So Meredith, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And I want to remind everybody, if you're looking for this front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem, keep hanging out with me here on Tech Vibe. This has been Jonathan Kirstein.